Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we are on December 7th of the Charlie's Nail Art Advent Calendar. So we're slowly getting through these. So I'm going to just take out number 7. I really love how cute these little bags are. I think I said it in a previous video, but I do really love the effort that Charlie's Nail Art have gone into creating these advent calendars. So let's take a look at what is in bag number 7. I really struggled to get this one open and to get it out. And again, I have left the video all in real time. So for today's video, we have these cute little iridescent snowmen to use. So I'm going to open these up and pop them in a little glitter pot because that's what I do with all of my glitters or any chunky glitter pieces, sequins, whatever you like to call them like this. I just find it a lot easier to keep them stored in pots in my drawer rather than in the little bags. And it's really handy that Charlie labels them with the stickers on the bag because I just peel them off and pop them on the pot and we're ready to go. Now I'm going to be doing an acrylic design in today's video, so I'm starting off with a CJP Fantasy. This is one of my favourite core colours from CJP. So I'm going to pick up a medium-sized bead of acrylic to begin with, and I'm placing that down right at what would be that cuticle area if we were working on a real nail. Then I'm just very gently tucking it into place at that cuticle area, and I'm going to leave the bulk of this product in the cuticle and natural nail bed area. I don't want to pull it all the way down the nail as I want there to be a clear tip. So I'm just focusing on having this colour down at that natural nail bed area. So because I've picked up the bead with a medium consistency, it's really easy to mould and work with. CJP does work with a more drier consistency, so I tend to pick it up more on the medium dry side, and then I find it the most easy to work with. Then what I'm doing is I'm just blending this out, but I'm being really careful that I don't pull too much of it down the nail because, like I said, I want to keep that tip nice and clear. So I'm just patting that from side to side, and it has started to set up quite quickly. So I'm just blending it out to make sure that it's all nice and even. I've got it as smooth as I can. And then I'm not worrying about fading out the Fantasy because I'm going to be coming in with some glitter at the centre of the nail. So I didn't need to spend too much time worrying about softening that line that's there. But I did decide to come in with another bead of acrylic just because I was looking at the nail and it looked a little bit patchy up on one side. So I just come in with another small bead. I'm going to blend that back and then I'm going to pull it over, and then that's going to even out any inconsistencies in the colour. So this bead I picked up slightly on the wetter side just because I'm not building or anything like that with it. I'm just painting it over the previous bead of acrylic. And then I'm going to clean up the very tip of my nail because I want that to look as clear as possible. So I'm just removing any of the acrylic that might have got pulled down there, just using my brush wet with some monomer. Now, if you was doing this on yourself or a client, I would recommend having a clear base down over your tip as well. So let's move on to the glitter. This beautiful mix is also from Charlie's Nail Art. I think it's called Winter Wonderland or Walking in a Winter Wonderland, but I will double check and leave it in the description box below. It's a super pretty iridescent mix, and it has these gorgeous large chunky snowflakes, and in amongst there you've also got some dots, and it's all got that whole super pretty iridescent vibe to it. I love that there's a lot of finer glitter pieces in this mix as well because it means you can play around with it and use it for lots of different designs. So here I've picked up a wet bead of acrylic and I've dipped into that raw glitter, and then I'm kind of just working the chunkier pieces into place as well as nudging those finer glitter pieces into place. I want the finer glitter pieces to fade over the Fantasy and then come down the clear tip as well. And then I'm just going to pick out any more of the chunky snowflakes that I want to place. So I'm just picking them up with my wet brush and placing them down wherever I want them to go basically. And because they are iridescent, they are a little bit tricky to see at this point, but once you come in and encapsulate and top coat, you're able to see them a lot easier. So it does make it a little bit tricky to apply them, especially when you're working over a clear base anyway. Here I'm just tapping on some of these dots that are also in the glitter mix as well, because I love the effect that it all gives off. And then I'm just making sure to blend everything out a little bit so that there's not a harsh line where the glitter starts and stops. Here you can see those snowflakes and dots a little bit easier. Just look how pretty they are. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a teeny tiny bead of wet clear acrylic, and I'm just going to wash that over those glitter pieces that we've placed down so that I have something tacky for my snowmen to stick into. And then I'm just going to pick up, I think I only placed down 2 of these. They are quite large, and even though we're working on a long nail, I didn't want it to look too much, if that makes sense. I felt as though 2 was enough, especially with those snowflakes in the background. So I'm just picking those up with my wet brush and then setting them down into that tacky acrylic. And then you have got a fair bit of playtime to move these around into place and get them positioned where you want them to be. So I was kind of just looking at the nail, moving them around and seeing where I felt they looked best. And then I'm going to pop down a little bead of acrylic over the top of them, just so that it will set and hold these in place so they don't move around when it comes to encapsulating. If you don't do this, sometimes the tacky acrylic underneath isn't enough to hold them in place. And then when you do encapsulate, you end up either pulling them off or moving them into a position that you don't want them to be in. So once I've popped down that layer of clear acrylic over the top of them, I'm going to leave that to set before I come in and encapsulate. So I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes so that I know I don't move them out of place, because I quite liked where they were. So now that that has set, I'm going to come in and fully encapsulate the nail. So I'm starting off with a medium-sized bead, and I've just placed that down roughly in the center of the nail, and I'm blending it back. I don't need too much clear acrylic up in the cuticle and apex area, because we have built up a lot of the nail there with the Fantasy, and Fantasy is a core color from CJP, so it doesn't need the strength from a clear acrylic. But I'm then just walking the rest of this bead of acrylic down towards the very tip of the nail so that we fully encapsulate those snowmen and chunky glitters that we've placed down. Now, because I want this tip to look semi-transparent, you don't want to overplay with your clear acrylic too much, as otherwise it ends up putting bubbles into it. So I'm trying to just pat it into place and then gently feather it down without pulling it around too much. And then I'm just blending that back to make sure I've got a nice smooth application. And then I did notice that the finer glitter pieces I'd placed down, they had gone down over the Fantasy a little bit more than I thought. So I decided to come in with another small bead of clear acrylic just to make sure that they're fully encapsulated in as well. Now, I've said it before when I've been doing the advent calendar videos and working on these display tips, I don't really focus on building up any strength or structure with the clear layer, because the nail is not going to be worn. But if you are working on a client, when it comes to doing your encapsulation layer, that's when you need to make sure you're building up all of your strength and structure. So I then off camera allowed that clear acrylic to fully set, and I also did all of the filing, buffing, shaping, and wiped over the nail with some acetone to make sure it was super clean and ready for our top coat. And for top coat, I'm going to be using the CJP Tack Free Top Gloss. I absolutely love this top coat. So I'm going to come in and top coat the entire nail with a thin layer of this, and it's then going to bring back the super sparkly shine from all of those beautiful glitter pieces. Then once I've done this, I'm obviously going to pop it in to cure for 60 seconds. So I really hope you enjoyed this design, guys. I felt as though it had a really pretty wintry wonderland vibe, and I absolutely loved it. One more thing, because it's a clear tip, I am going to come in and top coat underneath the nail as well, just to get that super crystal clear effect. So yeah, like I was saying, I really hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, then please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below and letting me know what you guys think. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love it if you did. And I shall see you all again in tomorrow's video. Lots of love. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye bye.